the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kopenauer.
Here.
Mr. Harshman.
Here.
Mr. Lake.
Here.
Mr. Martray.
Here.
Mr. Martucci.
Here.
Mr. Mondell.
Here.
Mr. Renzi.
Here.
Mr. Renzi.
Here.
Mrs. Sangston.
Here.
And Mr. Panzella.
Here. First, I'd like to take a minute and make a motion to appoint Jen Helms as Assistant Business Manager, as Acting Board Secretary and Minute Taker for tonight's meeting. Second.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now, if we could please stand for a moment of silence and reflect. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Motion to accept the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion to second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to second the treasurer's report.
Second.
Motion to second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion for the payment of general and federal fund bills.
So moved. Second.
Motion to second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Motion for the payment of the cafeteria fund bills.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll have public comment for agenda items. And I have Kevin Ghost from the Rotary for the Rotary donation. Just remember 3 minutes, please.
3 minutes.
You're better with 3 minutes, probably 9.
Good evening. This past spring, I attended the 6th grade track meet out at Falcon Stadium, and one of our middle school students was performing the national anthem. And as she began to sing, there was this look of confusion because folks weren't sure exactly where the flag was out there. And our flagpole stands almost the same height as our scoreboard, so when you're scanning across the stadium, you really don't see it unless there's a good breeze. So tonight, under Finance, there is a proposal to accept a donation of a flagpole that is twice as tall from the Rotary Club of Collinsville, and we hope that you will accept this donation on behalf of our Rotary Club in memory of our most recent Rotarian that passed, Mrs. Robin Bubarth. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you very much. That's all we have for agenda items, and thank you very much, Kevin, for that, and the Rotary. We'll move to that. Yes, sir.
Before we go any further, I would just like to wish the happy birthday to the acting secretary tonight. She's doing it here.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Harshman. I'm sure she's not embarrassed. I'm sure she's fine up here. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. Well, Mr. Renzi, we'll move to athletics. I don't know if you can talk that.
I can't sing it. Request approval to accept resignation of Brad Davis, freshman boys head basketball coach, and I so move. Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Scott Flynn, freshman boys head basketball coach, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of volunteer wrestling coach, Zach Snyder, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
So we have Mr. Martucci,
No, sir.
Mrs. Sangston,
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Evans?
Nothing, thank you.
So we have Mr. Panzella.
Thank you, Mr. Renzi. Moving to buildings and grounds, Mr. Lake.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Facilities utilization in accordance with policy 707, request approval of the following event and building usage request. And I'd like items 1 through 6 put on the minutes, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request the custodial approval contingent upon successful submission of screening and background checks of the following additions to the custodial substitute list for the 2023-2024 school year: Terry Nicholson and Jamison McPoyle. And I so move.
Second.
The motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Kokenar, do you have anything to add?
Nothing,
Mr. Martucci?
No, sir.
Mr. Kirsch?
Nothing.
That's all we have this evening. Thank you, Mr. Panzella.
Thank you, Mr. Lake. Moving to the Carnegie Free Library, Mr. Mongel.
And we have nothing on, for Carnegie Library. Mr. Mortrey, yeah. Mrs. Saints.
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mongel. Moving to Connellsville Area Career and Technical Center, Mr. Kokenauer.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Comprehensive plan, request approval to submit the Connellsville Area Career and Technical Center comprehensive plan to PDE for the period of 2023-2026 as presented, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request permission for Caitlin Ackerman, CTC Health Occupational Instructor, to attend the Skills USA Leadership Conference in Seven Springs on November 8th, 9th, 10th, 2023. As a chaperone, conference and substitute expenses will be paid through the Skills USA's student account with no cost to the district, and I so move.
Second.
The motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
12C, request permission for Tina Dahl, CACTC Workforce Development Coordinator, to take 8 to 10 CTC students to York River Park and Mounds Creek Park in November. A specific date to be determined for a community service project. Students will help the Connellsville Shade Commission with planting of trees at each park. The date will be announced once the trees are delivered to the Tree Commission. We will leave the CTC at 9 a.m. and return before dismissal. The CTC school van will be used for transportation to and from the parks with no cost to the district, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
12D, request permission for Tina Dahl, CTC Workforce Development Coordinator, and Nordic Sharif, CTC Welding Instructor, to take 4 welding students to Pittsburgh Technical College on Friday, November 17th, 2023, to participate in the MFG welding competition and career discovery day at an approximate cost of $178.34 for a substitute. The CTC school van will be used for transportation. We will leave at 8 a.m. and return at approximately 4 p.m. Students will be responsible for providing transportation home upon return to the CTC school, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request permission for Tina Dahl, Skills USA Advisor, and Kathleen Ackerman, Skills USA Chaperone, to take approximately 36 Skills USA members from the CACTC to Mon Valley CTC in Charleroi on December 19th, 2023 for the District 9 Skills USA competition. Transportation and substitute expenses will be paid using the Skills USA account, and I so move.
The motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have, Mr. Panzella. Mr. Lee?
Nothing, thank you.
Mrs. Sampson?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. McWilliams?
Nothing, thank you.
That's all we have tonight, Mr. Panzella. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kokenauer. Moving to curriculum, Mr. Harshman.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Item 13A, travel, in accordance with policy number 431, addition number 3. Request approval of the following professional employees' travel. Meredith Thornton is requesting to attend the Pennsylvania State Modern Language Association Seven Springs Mountain Resort, November 3rd, 2023, at an approximate cost of $400 for registration and substitute to to be paid for from Title II, Part 8 funds. Nicole Davis, Melissa Farrell, Melissa Sevegas, Caitlin Smith, Gracie Dowley, Amanda Wingrove, Thomas, Billy Joe White, Kelly Cunningham will be attending the SAP training at St. Vincent College December 5, 6, 7, 2023, at an approximate cost of $6,320.34 for registration, mileage, and substitutes to be paid for from the ARP ESSER funds, 7% set aside. Jessica Vaughn, Amanda Pershing, and are requesting to attend the Youth Mental Health First Aid Conference, WMHFA, Westmoreland IU, November 9, 2023, at an approximate cost of $350 for 2 substitutes to be paid for from the ARP ESSER, 7% set aside. No question, or I'm sorry, all those in favor? I'm sorry.
Well, we're going to need a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
13B, AP Language and Composition. Request approval to purchase the language and composition, Essential Voices, Essential Skills by Renee H. Shea and others, 4th edition, at a cost of $5,424.30 to be paid from the ARP ESSER funds. And I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 13C, Curriculum Service Agreement. Request approval of the Curriculum Service Agreement between Intermediate Unit 1 and the Council Area School District as proposed. And I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 13D, Curriculum Committee Meeting. Curriculum Committee meeting was held October 19th at noon. That's all I have. Mr. Renzi?
I have nothing, thank you.
Mr. Bonjel?
Nothing, thank you.
Dr. Koontz? That's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harshman. Moving to cyber, Mr. Martray.
Thank you, Mr. Panzello. We have nothing. We did meet on October 11th at 10 a.m., and we're still putting some things together, and when we have that completed, we'll get back to everybody. That's all we have. Mr. Kokenar, anything additional?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Mongiel?
Nothing, thank
Mr. Ghost?
you. Nothing, thank you.
That's all we have.
Thank you, Mr. Martray. Moving to federal programs, Mr. Mongeau.
Thank you. Item 15A, request the approval for Dr. Tracy Koontz to attend the 2024 PAFPC Improving School Performance Federal Conference at the Sheraton Station Square, February 4th through February 7th of 2024, at an approximate cost of $1,150 for registration, lodging, meals, and travel to be paid from Title I funds. And I so move.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 15B, request the approval for the purchase of additional foundation Level 3 classroom kits and student notebooks at a cost of $20,346.72 to be paid from the ARP ESSER funds, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
Roll call.
Mr. Mongeau?
No.
Mr. Lake?
Yes.
Mr. Renzi?
Yes.
Mr. Horstman?
Yes.
Mrs. Sangston?
Yes.
Mr. Martray?
No, the reason I'm voting no is because I would definitely like to see us use our own curriculum instead of outside curriculum all the time, because I haven't seen much improvement in our scores.
Can we finish the vote, and then you can let us know?
That's why I voted no.
Mr. Kokenauer?
Yes.
Mr. Martucci?
Yes.
Mr. Panzella.
Yes.
7 yeas, 2
Motion passes. Mr. Mongill, do you have anything else?
No, I don't. Mr. Martucci, do you have anything?
No, sir.
Mr. Martray?
No.
Dr. Coon?
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Mongill. Moving to finance, Mr. Renzi.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Request approval of the attached requisites and orders and to authorize direct business office to process orders and payments, and I so move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the following donations to the CAXS Prom Committee from Martin's Grocery: 100 boxes of spaghetti and 108 jars of sauce. And I saw Hoffman Auto Sales, $50. Johnson Tax and Accounting, $100. The Bible Club, to the Bible Club, 6 dozen donuts from Aaron Kessler. To the Musical Club, the Merle Stutson Foundation, $1,000. To the CACTC Heavy Equipment Program, donating traffic cones from Drake Har. And to the Falcon Stadium, we have a 40-foot flagpole installation, approximately $4,200 from the Connellsville Rotary, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Lake,
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Horstman,
Nothing, thank you.
and Mrs. Robson.
I just would like to thank all of the donors, that we had a lot of donations that were recognized this month, and that's all I have.
Thank you. It's all we have, Mr. Manzella.
Thank you, Mr. Renzi. Moving to food service, Mrs. Sangston.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Request the conditional approval contingent upon successful submission of screening and background checks of the following additions to the cafeteria substitute list for the 23-24 school year: Deidre Mayhoot and Crystal Pierce. And I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have, Mr. Coconer.
No, thank you.
Mr. Martray?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Trippinoff?
Yes, I'd like to add that we did have extra funds for our fresh produce program with $10,000 this month. That was addition to the $4,000 we received last month, so total $14,000, and to help our program, our staff prepare fresh vegetables and produce for the students here.
That's awesome, thank you. That's all we have, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sangston. Moving to personnel and review and liaison, Mr. Lake.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Request the conditional approval contingent upon successful submission of screening and background checks of the following additions to the support personnel substitute list for the 2023-2024 school year: Morgan Nutter and Rebecca Schultz. And I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
The following family and medical leaves are confirmed by the board: Robert Swope Jr., monitor, effective October the 9th, 2023, intermittently for the remainder of the 2023-2024 school year, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to accept the resignation of Philip Michael, security, effective October the 9th, 2023, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval for Brent Witt, custodian, to take an unpaid leave of absence beginning September the 5th, 2023, until on or about December the 31st, 2023, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval for Donna Grimm, cafeteria worker, to take an unpaid leave of absence beginning November the 2nd, 2023, until on or about November the 28th, 2023, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire the following personnel student aides, effective October the 25th, 2023, Dawn Baker, Brady Johnson, Crystal Porterfield, and Allison Wolf, and I so move.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval for Molly Gibson, teacher, to take an unpaid leave of absence for the second semester of the 2023-2024 school year, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the release time for Margaret Rockwell, ESP Region Officer at Large, with cost to be reimbursed by the PSEA as follows. Half a day on November 3rd, 2023, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to advertise and post for confidential employees position of access coordinator as presented, and I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the Act 93 plan for included Connersville area school district administrators.
Mr. President, I have a comment on that before we go any further, if you don't mind.
We're
You
going to
have
have
to
to
wait
make a
till
motion
we
second.
have a motion
before we
and a
comment
second.
on anything.
Okay.
Okay, and I so move.
Motion and a second. Any questions?
Okay. All right. Okay, last month, when this was presented to us, I only had it in my hands for one day. And I voted no for it. And I want everybody to know, on the administration side, I want to treat everybody fairly. And I have nothing against giving anybody a raise. I really don't. That's not the issue here. But when I look down through and I did some numbers, you know, we're talking about in some of these areas of certain positions, we're talking between $6,000 and $14,000 increase on the base salary. That's a lot of money over 6 years. And I'm certainly not in favor of a 6-year. I think the 6-year, I understand going in between, we don't want to negotiate at the same time the teachers or other CBAs. I understand that. But we could go 3 and 5. I had an issue with that. But, you know, we've getting some windfall from the state this year, plus the tax increase. And I just want to try to be as frugal as we can and be good stewards of our money, how we spend it, okay? But I do believe we need to do an increase. I don't have a problem with that. I know Mr. Renzi mentioned that the other night. I have a problem with the increase on the percentages. We'll leave that where it's at. But the other issues I do have a problem with. So where we're going to get the money, I don't know. But that's just all I have to say. Thank you.
Any other questions? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Roll call.
Mr. Lake,
Yes.
Mr. Martucci,
Yes.
Mr. Renzi,
Yes.
Mrs. Sangstein,
Yes.
Mr. Martrek,
No.
Mr. Mongeau,
No.
Mr. Kokenauer,
Yes.
Mr. Harshman,
Yes.
Mr. Panzella.
Abstain.
Six yeas.
Motion passes.
Request approval of the additional Meet 2 Administrators Memorandum for included Connersville area school district administrators as presented, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
Roll call.
Mr. Lake,
Yes.
Mrs. Sangstein,
Yes.
Mr. Kokenauer,
Abstain?
Mr. Martucci,
Yes.
Mr. Mongeau,
No.
Mr. Martrek,
No.
Mr. Renzi,
Yes.
Mr. Panzella, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, Mr. Harshman,
Yes.
and Mr. Panzella.
Yes. Motion passes.
Request the conditional approval contingent upon successful submission of screening and background checks of the following addition to the professional substitute list for the 2023-2024 school year. Holly Roebuck, emergency, and I so move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. This was an addition, so if we have any public comment or anything on this, anything? Nothing? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval to hire Joseph Walsh as the JROTC 11-month instructor contingent and effective upon approval of the Army JROTC Cadet Command, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Once again, this was an addition. Is there any questions, comments? If not, All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the memorandum of understanding between the Connersville Area School District and the Connersville Area Education Association regarding speech services, and I so move.
Second.
This motion is second. This, once again, was an addition for tonight. Any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Renzi, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I do have to add just a couple of things. Getting back to the salaries, we were told that there's going to be like $6,000 to $15,000 raises. And I have a copy here, and I'll share that with anyone, of all the schools in the area, especially Fayette County schools. And even after giving a big bump to some of these particular job positions, we're still below what the average is getting. I thought it was a very fair assessment, very fair way to a deserving increase to those people who were way below what they should have been getting. Like I say, I'll gladly share these with anyone. We had all this information. I was on the campaigning committee, on the negotiating committee for them. But that's all I have to say. Thank you.
One other rebuttal on that. The only thing is with that, I understand where you're coming from with the amounts, but you got to take consideration some of those where other school districts are at. This is Connersville. That's over here at another school district. We don't know if those people where they're at. To compare that, are they at 20 years, 25 years? Did it take them that long to get there? That's what we don't know. And what we're talking here is we raise that, increase those base salaries like that. You're also adding 3.2% on top of that for the next 2 years, and then 3.28 on top of that on down the road. It's going to compound. That's where I'm having a problem with that.
I understand what you're saying, but the first year, everything's pretty much covered because we're not paying the superintendent. So there's $130-some-thousand plus benefits that we're not paying. Mr. Evans is getting a small supplement, so we have the first year pretty much covered on that. So that argument's kind of mute. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Right now. But what about down the road when you got all these increases like we're going to get a half? What are you going to pay the superintendent when we do decide we want to get another superintendent?
Well, the good news is we have fixed increases. That's the good news. We do know exactly now what our budget is as far as payroll. That is the good news. I mean, you voted for the teacher contract, you voted for every other contract. I think now that we have them all taken care of, we're going to be better off because we know what our numbers are. We just have to worry about the other variables.
Mr. Harshman, do you have anything to add?
All these other districts in Fayette County are also a lot smaller than Connersville. Our administrators have a lot more responsibility than a lot of the other administrators have, especially like Mr. D'Amico. He has special ed. I mean, he has by far more cases than anybody in Albert Gulls, Uniontown, or Laurel Highlands. So, as I said, that's just one example. I don't want to go into all of them, but I'm going to end there.
Mrs. Coconut. Mr. Evans.
Nothing else, thank you.
Mr. Mortrey, I didn't hear you complaining when you give your son and the rest of the teachers same percentage.
Mr. Lake, that has nothing to do with where you're going with that. We have a professional negotiator. Excuse me. You're making a comment now.
You never said a word.
No.
Never said a word. But you
Why should I? We had a professional negotiator in there. And when I listened to that gentleman explain to us about the teacher's salary, he said everything was equal, and we come out of that okay. They were happy, we were happy, and that was good enough for me.
I know it was good enough for you. That's all we have. Thank you, Mr. Penzel.
Plus those teachers are.
The pay
Thank
on
you,
the
Mr.
teachers,
Manziel.
how they
That's
get
all
a
I have.
stipend. They don't get a full amount of that. So keep that in mind.
Moving to policy and legislative. Mr. Martrey.
Let's go to policy.
Okay, under policy, we have, this would be our final one. This is 204 attendance, 800 records management, 800 AR0, that's a new one, 006 for our meetings, 216.1 for discipline records, student experiencing homelessness, foster care, and other educational instability, 101 mission statement, 822 automated external defibrillator, and I so move.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
Roll call.
Martre,
Yes.
Mr. Harshman,
Yes.
Mr. Monjel,
Yes.
Mr. Renzi,
Yes.
Mr. Lake,
No.
Mr. Kokenauer,
Yes.
Mr. Martucci,
Yes.
Mrs. Sangston,
Yes.
Mr. Pansell.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion carries.
And the last one we have is 19B. This is just for informational purposes. The following policies was reviewed by the LEA Parent Committee on October 12th, 2023, with no changes to the policy. And that's policy 918, Title I, Parent Family Engagement Policy. Do we need a motion on that, Mr. Solicitor? Okay. That's all we have. Mr. Montiel, do you have anything additional? Mr. Harshman?
Thank you.
Mr. Evans? That's all we have.
Thank you, Mr. Martre. Moving to safety and security, Mr. Martucci.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. Request approval to purchase Milestone X Protect 2023 R2 Expert Upgrade License from Fuchsia Computing Solutions, sole source provider, at a cost of $135,000 to be paid from the technology software license budget. I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request a conditional approval contingent upon successful submission of screening and background checks of the following addition to the security substitute list for the 2023-2024 school year: Colton Miller, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval for Ernest Nicholson and Thomas Clark, CASD police officers, to attend ALICE training November 27 and November 28, 2023 at the Carmichael's Area School District at a cost of $1,498 as budgeted under safety and security, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And that's all I have. Mr. Renzi.
I just wanted to add to that, for those that don't know what ALICE training is, ALICE is an acronym for Alert, Lockdown, Inform, Counter, and Evacuate. And it's a safety program that gives kids options in case you have a violent intruder come into your building. It gives them options on various things they can do. That's all I have.
Thank you. No, Mr. Kokenauer.
Nothing, thank you.
And Mr. Parlak.
I have nothing, thank you.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martucci. Sticking with you for special education, please.
Thanks again, Mr. Panzella. Request approval for Nick D'Amico to attend the Council of Administrators of Special Education Conference, David L. Lawrence Convention Center, November 7th through November 10, 2023, at an approximate cost of $950 for lodging, meals, and travel, and I so move.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have, Mr. Lake.
Nothing. Thank you.
Mrs. Sangston.
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. D'Amico.
Nothing, thank you.
That's all, Mr. Panzella. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martucci. Student Services, Mrs. Sangston.
Thank you, Mr. Pinzella.
I think it was you were, thank goodness you're here, I heard from Monday.
Right. Mr. Mondial, I'm here, but if you want to help me out, you're more than welcome to. Travel, in accordance with policy 121, we had two additions, number 22 through 25, so I'm going to spread 1 through 25. I so move.
Motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the following 23-24 Falls Valley High School musical production staff for 4 performances, not to exceed the budget of $50,000, condition upon obtaining necessary performance licensing, and to authorize such persons to serve in an uncompensated volunteer capacity until such necessary performance licensing is obtained, upon the ability to hold, proceed, and conduct extracurricular activities under state orders. Such agreements and appointments to be subject to earlier termination based on subsequent state orders. Stipend shall be prorated based on work performed. I'd like to spread the salaries. I so move.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Musical staff volunteers. I'd like to spread the lists for that. I so move.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the following supplemental contracts for the 23-24 school year, contingent upon receipt of a signed contract no later than 1 month after issuance, including the posting if the contingency is not met. The high school prom co-advisor is Amy Rico. High school prom co-advisor Amy Rico. E-sports advisor fall season Brad DeMarco. E-sports advisor spring season Kenny Brooks. And I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request permission for Dick Gruber, guidance counselor, to attend online staff training through Corin Treatment Center, Thursdays, November 2nd, 9th, 15th, 2023, at a cost of $295 to be paid by the PCCD grant. And I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the student-teacher assigned with St. Vincent College for the fall of 23 semester. And I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Request approval of the 5-year affiliation agreement between Pennsylvania and Western University and the Connellsville Area School District for an academic experience site effective October 25th, 2023, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
We have an addition. Request approval of the student-teacher assignment with Indiana University of Pennsylvania for the spring of 2024 semester, and I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. This was an addition. If there's any questions or comments? If not, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have. Mr. Harshman.
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Mongeau.
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. D'Amico.
Nothing, thank you.
That's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Sangston. Moving to technology, Mr. Harshman.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. 23A, PDE Data Summit. Request approval for Laura Lambie, Ashley McLaughlin, and Tom Kendai, staff, to attend the PDE Data Summit, Hershey Park, March 10th through March 13th, 2024, at an approximate cost of $3,200 for registration, lodging, meals, and travel as budgeted. And I so move.
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have, Mr. Martucci. Mr. Martre. Mr. Ghost.
Just want to remind the parents again that we sent home access codes for Power School, and if they need any help setting up that account, to dial 724-628-3300, extension 999, will put you in touch with the technology department. We'd be happy to help you set up your account.
And that is on our website?
All the information is on the website under the technology page.
Okay, thank you. That's all we have.
Thank you, Mr. Harshman. Moving to transportation, Mr. Kokenauer.
Thank you, Mr. Panzella. 24A, request approval of the following additions and updates to the bus van driver list for the 2023-2024 school year. Joseph Konetsko, Stephen Showman, E.W. Colburn, Teresa Fish, and Robert Minor. And I so move.
Second.
A motion is second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have, Mr. Panzella. Mr. Lee?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Renton? Mr. Evans?
Nothing else, thank you.
That's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kokenauer. Under the President's reports, there's one, it's informational. The November work session on Monday, November 13th, and the voting meeting on Wednesday, November 15th will be held in room 121 of the high school. It'll be due to the senior class play. That was number one. The only thing I'm going to touch on again is I'd just like to thank this board and all the unions and negotiations that took place this year. I think this board should be pretty proud that we settled every contract and worked with everybody, and everything seemed to be amicable on both sides. Everybody was great to work with, and we now have, I don't know how we got it all in 1 year, but we did get them all settled. I've asked people that have been here for years They can remember the last time this happened, and some of these people were here for a long time, and they said they can't remember a time that this happened. So it gets a little stable for the next few years, and I do believe that we're staggered as far as not having all the contracts now that'll come at us at one time. So once again, I think this board and everybody should be pretty proud of this year and how smooth everything went. So thank you guys very much. That's all I had. Next, we will move to public comment for non-agenda items. And we have Sonia Bentley for involvement. Is that right?
Yes.
Thank you. Before I start on that, I would like to just make an amendment to my comments on Monday. At no time was I intimating that the administrators of our district are not entitled to an annual increase. However, and I know you're going to probably say, "I'll take this up with your union," which I am. All I'm asking is to spread the wealth, because the ESPs are the lowest paid out of everybody in the district. And we are at ground zero with these children. We do it because we love the kids. But we're the ones that are getting spit on and coughed on and our hair pulled and our clothes torn and this and that. And we get a 50-cent raise. So with that said, I'm going to move on to my involvement. I'm going to use this public forum to appeal to the taxpayers of Connellsville Area School District. Elections are on November 7th, and I would hope and encourage everyone, Republican, Democrat, Independent, to go out and vote. I will acknowledge that there is a lot of work that the school board has done. I'm going to be honest with you, I disagree with a lot of it, but I'm just a taxpayer, you know. So with that being said, I also want to encourage all the taxpayers to consider this. No one likes to pay taxes, but we all pay federal, state, local taxes. Federal takes care of our nation, state takes care of our state. But that might be in Philadelphia on the other side of Pennsylvania. Our taxes for the school district is our backyard.
1 minute.
Thank you. These are our kids. This is our community. This is our school district. These are our children that are being affected by the decisions that are being made right up there with this school board. I'm not going to say good or bad on that. I just want to appeal to the taxpayers of Connellsville Area School District to take into consideration some of the decisions that have been made up there on that stage over the past 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So thank you very much, and I appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you. That's all we have for non-agenda items. Assistant to the superintendent,
I have nothing, thank you.
Mr. Evans.
Thanks, Mr. Panzel. I want to again thank the Rotary Club for the generosity of the donation and installation of the flagpole at the stadium, especially our own Kevin Ghost, who spearheaded that project. It's a much-needed upgrade in addition to our stadium that will be a focal point for spectators and teams when they're honoring the flag for many years to come. So thanks again for that. Also, on October 12th, I had the privilege to take part in the Basic Education Funding Commission hearing at Penn State Fayette. The commission is a bipartisan committee made up of a group of state senators and representatives tasked with gathering input from stakeholders across the state and making a recommendation to the state legislature on a new, equitable, and fair funding formula for public education. As you may already be aware, in February of this year, the State Commonwealth Court ruled that the current funding system is unconstitutional. What was clear through this process is that having the way that schools are funded in Pennsylvania that relies so heavily on revenue from local property tax creates an even bigger disparity between schools across the Commonwealth. The haves keep getting more and the have-nots keep getting less, and this obviously makes no sense. Take a look at school districts across the state with high poverty, Connellsville School District being one of them. Schools with a high poverty rate, whether they are extremely urban to extremely rural and everywhere in between, all share the same unfortunate circumstances that are magnified in their districts. With high poverty comes uncharacteristically high percentage of special ed students, high absenteeism, as well as high economically disadvantaged student population percentage. The communities that these school districts serve are harder hit by the mental health crisis, the opioid crisis, unemployment rates, and lower than average internet connectivity rates within households. In a basic education funding system that was clearly broken, no provision was ever made to distinguish when comparing high-stakes testing performance and college and workplace readiness. While these low-income school districts across the Commonwealth have embraced the challenges they are dealt with, it's also necessary to keep in mind that while school districts like ours are preparing our students to school well on advanced placement exams and ensuring that they're competitive in the college admission process, the reality is that some of the biggest accomplishments that happen in our schools on a daily basis is meeting the basic needs of children with such things as providing a hot meal, finding a coat for a child to wear on a cold day, or sitting on the floor with a child grieving the loss of a loved one. Our staff takes those situations in stride and with smiles on their faces, and I've yet to find that category on a school performance report card. In saying that, now is the time for our state to get the basic education funding formula right and create a system where all schools are provided the resources needed to give students an equitable opportunity to be successful. While this commission was given the timetable of November of this year to make a recommendation to the legislature, I encourage you all to reach out to your local congressmen and women to voice how crucial this opportunity is for Pennsylvania to finally make educational funding fair and equal for all districts. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. It's very good. Very good. Yes, sir.
It kind of puzzles me, but as you said, we had 4 contracts settled this year. There was no discussion on any of them. Administrators make up, of their salaries and benefits, 3.7% of our budget. Teachers make up 43.5% of our budget. There were no complaints about that. And the other contracts are more than 3.7%. Why the complaints about the smallest group that we have, okay, that are so underpaid compared to other districts? And as far as taxes, all I want to say is, everyone, I've heard a lot of this, it's a tax year, it's an election year, they're going to bring up taxes. Now, we have one tax increase in the last 8 years. We have the lowest taxes in Fayette County. Fayette County has the lowest taxes in the state of Pennsylvania. So we are among the lowest taxes in the state of Pennsylvania. How the hell can somebody complain about our taxes? I don't understand it. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Ensign. That's all we have. Motion adjourned.
So moved.